Des, what up?
Hi.
What's goody?
How are you?
How are you?
I'm good. I'm
Everything,
good.
everything?
Yeah. How are you doing, Cheryl?
I'm doing all right. How you doing?
Good.
Cheryl.
Is that wrong? It's Sherelle.
Terrell.
Sherelle. I'm sorry,
And
Sherelle.
she got an old face though, Des. So Cheryl.
No, that's not why I said that. It's because that's how my cousin spells it. I mean, well, to your point, my cousin's
Damn.
about 40.
Wow.
Damn,
Damn, I'm about
my
40.
bad.
My mama named Cheryl.
See? She did a play on her
So
name.
your name is actually Cheryl. You just told us. You just say Sherelle.
No. People used to call my mama Terrell when they saw her name. She named me Sherelle.
Cheryl look good
Sherelle.
on you though. You look like a Cheryl though.
I look like a Sherelle.
Sherelle. Sherelle.
Des, what's up, man? How you though?
I'm good.
So
I'm
we just talking through this thing, man. We looked up a bunch of different things in terms of marriage, the pros and cons, right? And the sentiment is shared. Miss Jilly was saying it. We had a show previously just saying that, women don't see the value in marriage anymore. I would say either, right? From the sentiments of most of the brothers is that men don't see the value in it. The juice isn't worth the squeeze. The perks you get from marriage, you can get outside of it without having to pay such a hefty burden. You know?
Okay. Um. Are you asking me my opinion?
Yeah.
My opinion is that women don't respect the role of marriage that their man plays. Because the responsibility of it is taken in a sense of accountability for who you are, and your role is who you are. We've grown up in a world right now where women have this sense of independence, so they think they're the big dog in the show. I can attest because that's what I was in my previous marriage. I was a big dog, but then when it comes down to it, your genetic coding isn't designed for you to be the big dog. Your genetic coding is designed for you to be the support system in what the big dog says, i.e., your husband. So I can agree that women want the notion of marriage, but they don't really respect what marriage is as in accordance to what their role is designed to be. Like you said, that your wife doesn't question you when you say things. There's a lot of women I know that question their husband in public spaces.
Well, I'm
They
talking
don't
about
even.
more specifically like when we in like situations that are getting heavy. You know what I'm saying?
Well, either way, if you told her to, this is not to be like demeaning or anything like that, but if you told her, babe, I want you to do this workout specifically, right? It's probably because you see something that she doesn't. And if she's like, well, I don't want to do that workout, that is defiant. That's not taking your husband's role into account of that he's not here to harm you. He's here to facilitate growth and progression in y'all's dynamic. It doesn't even have to be something extreme. It could be something as far as telling her, like, hey, we're going to go walk 3 times a week at this park near our house. And it could be because you don't want to tell her, baby, you get a little chunky, but you care about her health. You know that there's high cholesterol in her family. You know that diabetes running her family. And to offset that is like, oh, well, I think as the leader of this home, that as a family, we're going to go out 3-4 times a week to the park, and we're going to get some fresh air and some exercise. It doesn't have to be a sticky situation. She should just listen to you because she took on your name. You didn't take on her name.
Well, let me ask you. So yesterday I was going because I started doing 2-a-days, right? So I was going to. So I went to the boxing gym in the morning. Tiff ain't here, is she? All right, good. I went to the boxing gym in the morning, right? Which I probably shouldn't have been, but I couldn't help it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and then I went to go to Planet Fitness to do the stair climber. So my wife was like, "Okay, I want to go," and then I'm like, "All right, come on, you ready?" She's like, "I don't want to go no more." I'm like, "Are you sure you don't want to go?" Because I had asked her initially. She's like, "All right," and she's like, "Nah, I don't want to go." I'm like, "All right, fuck it then." Was that defiant?
No, I mean, because you didn't ask her to go, you didn't request her to go. She told you she wanted to go, so you gave her the room to make that decision.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
if you told your wife, like, hey, babe, I signed us up for these classes, and she was like, no, I think that's a bit defiant on her part because a husband. I don't know the exact definition of husbandry or the word where it originated, but it's to tend to, to the upkeep, right? And I think that when women get married, they feel like they are going to be able, because men are so lenient these days in a modern society where they're going to be able to pick and choose what they do or do not want to do. But I mean, ultimately, your husband bears the responsibility of the wife's actions and what they're a direct reflection of who your husband is. So it doesn't ever, they don't ever say like, oh, well, the house went up for foreclosure and you're married. They don't ever say, well, what did the wife do? They say, well, where the hell is your husband? They don't ever say like, oh, little Timmy is acting bad in school. They don't ever say, well, where the mama at? They say, well, why he don't have a daddy or a father in his life? You know what I mean? Like, there's so much responsibility that falls on a man's shoulder that even if the woman was to mess up, it still falls on the husband's shoulder. So I think, in my personal opinion, it's just best to allow the husband to delegate duties and to delegate responsibilities because it's just easier because it's all going to fall back on him regardless.
Now, what do you say regarding that, right? Because we're looking at it, we're gonna fine tooth it, right? So
Mm-hmm.
essentially now though, right? Because we look at contribution, and I think people weigh their contribution. And so what I mean by contribution is contributing to the home. So black women pretty much has always worked, but now the money is much more substantial. And the majority of Americans live paycheck to paycheck, and both people have to contribute, right? So what happens now to that hierarchy when everybody's putting in 50% of the earnings, or 50% of the cost in that home?
It still should be delegated by the husband. Like it just still should be. It don't matter. It doesn't matter if he makes $1 and you make $100 million. The respect is of his role of her husband. Like just the title in itself, husbandry. He's to take charge of that role. Like a wife is here to support. She's a support figure in the marriage. She's not the delegator, she's not the leader, and that's to me is law. That's why it works so well in different cultures because women know that their role is to support and not to delegate or take control of. Now it's different if the husband's like, babe, I'm gonna just make the money and you delegate where the money go in the house. But he still gave her that responsibility. She didn't take it from him. She didn't undermine him and take that role. He said, hey, I'm gonna just go out and earn this check and you know where everything goes. You know how often we gotta go to the grocery store. You know what the kids need. So I'm gonna just put it in our joint account and you delegate it
Okay.
efficiently. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Now let me ask you, a woman that was able to amass great wealth, right, in this earth, right, as
Mm-hmm.
independently as possible, to Sherelle's point, given society does a lot of things that people don't have to do anymore for themselves, right? But let's say she went to school, she got a good job, whatever the case, she started making money, she been leading herself for a decent amount of time, because the average marriage rate for our people is 32 years old, right? So she been out of college 6 or 7 years. Most women buy houses first, right? You say go get married and become a helpmeet, right? And be led and be delegated to. For a woman who's in normal circumstances, which is what I kind of just described,
Mm-hmm.
does that sound appealing to her?
No, because she done made it out on her own. Like, and you have to be a special type of woman or it has to be taught kind of early on that no matter what you acquire in life, if you're seeking out a husband, he's going to require you to adjust some of those accomplishments that you've made, like a home. Because let's just be real, it's not abnormal for a woman to come into a man's life and and let's say that man was previously married and he has a home, right? That's the home that he pays a mortgage on. And if she come into his life, this new wife comes into her life, and she's like, "Well, I don't want to stay there. I don't want to stay there because that belongs to something else, or that was something that you got in your singlehood," right? Most men are make the accommodation to sell that home and then get the home that woman wants, right? I don't understand why a woman can't do the same thing. If you have a home and now that you've merged, you have unification with a man now, why is it abnormal for you to give up those eyes for the weaves when men do it all the time?
You think so?
I do. I know an EMS. I know, then this is just a personal situation, but I know a guy that was in EMS. He met his wife, but he was previously married. That house is what he had with his previous wife. Now, of course, she doesn't live there. She done moved on with her new husband, but this is the house that he has. So technically, it's a bachelor pad at this point. But he automatically knew that it just wasn't gonna. Even though she didn't say anything, he knew that he was gonna put that house up for sale for him to get a new house with his new wife, so that they have their own kind of lineage.
But why? But think about this though, right? That woman is probably the least submissive woman that you described so far.
The new wife?
She come into that man's life and he got to sell his whole house and all that because he bought that house when he had the wrong women with him.
Mm-hmm. But that's what I'm saying. If they can make those adjustments for us, right? If they can placate our feelings and our entitlement and our ego, why is it so hard for women who have those statures, that house, that good job, that degree? You know what I mean? Why is it so hard for them to adopt for a husband? You know what I mean? That's where I'm coming from.
And you think most women who have been, because women buy houses more than men. I think men we don't prioritize let me go get a house as a sense of accomplishment. Men will live pretty
low maintenance,
pretty plainly, right? And then we'll start to acquire different things as we get responsibilities, i.e. kids or a woman and such, But I'm just asking, right? And I understand what you're saying, but what's the actual reality, right? Because our disparity in income isn't that a lot between our people. It's $3 or $4 grand. So men make a little bit more money, but in the interest of marriage, what should the thinking be today? What should the thinking be today? So if we're doing about the same good, right? We get married at a little bit later time, where people are acquiring more assets and etc. People have been living independently as adults, and then they come together. What should be realistic expectations when people join? Is it realistic for a man to say, "Yeah, this is the hierarchy now"?
Like his say is law? Is that what you're saying? Is his say is law?
Like what you saying?
Well, to answer your question, I think when people go into a marriage, these are all discussions that need to be had prior to getting married. That way, whether or not there's some unification there. There's no division, because they can look good and stuff like that, but if you're not on the same wavelength, then you're headed towards division, two separate visions. I honestly think, in a traditional sense, if a woman takes a man's surname, that she should acquiesce to what his vision is. But in modern times, women don't have to be with men no more to be taken care of, because they can take care of themselves, right?
Okay, so now, right? So that's where we are. So now that we know that the need for a man's provision doesn't whether or not it's needed or not, the sentiment is that it's not needed, right?
Well,
Right.
they're looking in the shallow waters, though, Ham. If you're looking at
But
just
but take
financial
this walk with
security,
me though.
there's
Take this
other
walk with
provisions
take
that
this
are
walk with me.
needed.
Take this walk with me. Take this walk with me. The sentiment, meaning the feeling, is that they don't need a man for those things, right? Once
Okay.
we get down into the gritty, that shit might change, right? I agree
Mm,
with you. You feel me? But the
yeah.
sentiment is like, yo, boom. So now, marriage, do you think marriage is still important regardless of the sentiments?
Yes. In my opinion, marriage is very important.
Okay.
Whether or
The
not, go
sentiment,
ahead.
well, yeah, okay. So but the sentiments are what they are.
Hmm.
So does there need to be a level set and adjustment regarding marriage? What should men realistically expect?
I think they should respect some pushback from women, and but if that woman is going into marriage for the right reasons, then it would only take a small adjustment period versus a forever adjustment period. Like there has to be a sense of respect before you even like that man has to know this woman respects me. She respects my authority. She respects my judgment. She respects my knowledge on certain things, and that all happens in the dating and courting phase, I believe. That way, in courting phases, you can walk away unscathed before getting to a very like legal and permanent situation as far as marriage goes. I know that there will be pushback with modern women. There will be pushback because you're adjusting from being a single woman to now a married woman. But I don't think the adjustment period should last 3, 4, 5 years. At that point, you should have never married this gentleman. You should have never accepted his proposal if you were never going to adjust or acquiesce to what his actual role is for you. Because at the end of the day, you can get a bag. I can get a bag just standing here,
But
right?
do you think that most women are saying, yo, it's time for me to give up my game plan. It's time for me to give up a level of autonomy. It's
Oh,
time
life.
for me to acquiesce to what this man wants, needs, and desires because his goals are now our goals.
Yeah. So I had to go through life to get to that point, that thought process. I don't think there's many human beings that will take another person's experience and learn from it, right? I got on here and was very vulnerable. Like I still get flack for it in the Discord. I outrightly said that I belittle grown big men. But is a woman that's going to watch this podcast going to be like, damn, I don't want to go through those trials that Des went through, right? Or is she going to be like, nah, I can do it differently so I can get a better result than Des. Life is your best teacher to me. I had to go through life and understand that I was not equipped to be a wife. I was not equipped to love a man unconditionally, and that means respect him unconditionally. But what I know now at my big age of 33 versus 21, 20, I would have told my younger self, "You're not ready to be a wife. You don't even know what it means to be a wife. So this is not your calling right now. This is not your ministry right now." But a wise woman would be like, "Damn, I heard Dez's story. Let me, if I really want to be with this man, I really love this man, I'm going to have to unconditionally respect him."
Okay. So okay. But what? All right, let me ask y'all this. Do you, when men say they don't see the pros of marriage, do you disagree with them?
No, not when they have to have pushback, and it's not easy to be married to a woman.
Hmm. Because it sounds like that if the ideology of modern women is as such, then he would get married like in spite of all that stuff.
I think maybe he's more concerned with like maybe the man is like, you know what, I could deal with a woman's attitude. I know what to expect with a modern woman, but I really want to have a son, or I really want to have some type of legacy. So I'm gonna eat shit because what's most important to me is having a legacy.
Mm.
And I'll work out the kinks with this woman because she's shown to be, somewhat attractive in a way of being respectful and working together as a helpmate, right? So I'm gonna eat shit when she's not quite pliable. I'll just add some more heat to her, and maybe she'll become more pliable. I think it depends on what his end goal is. Like, does he want a son? Does he think he can make a son to carry on his name with this woman?
Okay, so you're saying he need to be willing to eat shit if he want to have kids. And so
if he decides to, because eating shit in this aspect, what that symbolizes, like her attitude, not being so
it's
submissive.
guaranteed though, right?
What's guaranteed? Eating shit?
Yeah.
A woman's attitude is a woman's attitude. So yeah, I don't know a man that has a perfect wife that don't give him attitudes or pushback.
So if he want a kid, the marriage would be valuable to have the kid, essentially, right?
Yeah, legacy.
Okay.
That's what I think now. Legacy.
Well, kids, I would argue kids are lineage. Legacy is a kid may or may not be part of legacy, but kids are definitely lineage.
Okay, well, lineage.
Based on what Dez is articulating out, based on what you guys heard, do you agree with men that the juice ain't worth the squeeze regarding marriage? So the benefits that we named yesterday was when you have a kid within marital confines, you have your paternity rights that they're assumed, right? Essentially, there are tax benefits, but to be completely fair to the conversation yesterday, the tax benefits are largely when you make more money or there's a larger income disparity. A lot of people don't qualify for a lot of the tax benefits that are seen when you in marriage, because the money has to be either much higher or you got to qualify for different exemptions, so to speak, right? So and then the benefits were obviously you have like power of attorney, things like that, but when we weighed the benefits, a lot of the stuff that you can get outside of marriage also, so when you guys hear it and Dez is saying he gonna have to eat a little bit of shit, he gonna have to deal with an attitude, marriage here is monogamous in nature. Do you guys see the benefits of marriage for men specifically?
If you have the right partner, yeah.
You said partner, you already.
Well, I'm sorry, not partner. I know y'all don't like that P word. If you have the right helpmate, then I see the benefits, especially if a man has a vision and that woman compliments him. Like for me, I probably compliment an ambitious man because of my skill set.
Okay.
So I don't think I compliment a blue collar type of guy.
Why?
Well, because of because a blue collar guy, in my mind, this is what I think. A blue collar gentleman would probably like his wife to be like just like him, a 9 to 5, come home, cook his dinner, tend to the kids, watch TV, a show that y'all like collectively together, and then do it all over again. Well, my life and what I find happiness in is being a creative and being in spaces where I can help people build brands and stuff like that. So more freelance. So a gentleman who probably has his own business or has his own ambitions and doesn't want to work for someone, essentially, I compliment that man. And the reason why I know I compliment that man is because most of my clients are men who are high up in society, and I add to their brand. I've been able to propel their brand further.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yes, you telling
Why
me.
you living like that?
I mean,
man?
most black men are blue collar. Like blue collar has an entrepreneur. So the most entrepreneurs come from blue collar work. right? So like when people become master plumbers, as an example, people often create their own businesses, So like my father does concrete construction, you know, and so he's been doing that for a long, long time, So
But that's what I'm
like,
saying. He turns to entrepreneur, so then I would compliment that man. But I'm
but
saying
these
a
are
man
blue
that wants
collar
to do
men,
your.
though. These are blue
Well,
collar men,
so what should I call it then? Should I call it like a guy who works for someone else, like how a 9 to 5 guy, or
Well,
a guy who makes his own hours? Like what should I call it?
Well, you're just talking about someone who isn't a W-2 employee, right? So
Yeah.
that could be a 1099. So as an example, from the clubs I DJ at, I'm an independent contractor, but I get a 1099 from all these places, right? Because they have to let the government know how much they pay me. YouTube does the same thing, But you are saying somebody who's ambitious, but here's the issue with it is that you are assigning what ambition is, right? That is not a subordinate stance that you're taking in terms of being a help meet. He has to meet your requirements, in which case now you'll sign up for him if you like how ambitious he is based on what you determine. That's tough.
So I can't just like an ambitious man. I can't just be like, well, an ambitious man is what I'm attracted to. I'm being controlling and I'm being a little bit masculine in energy because I like that.
I'm just saying, Yanni, what's up? No, I'm just saying, like, just thinking about what all that you're saying. Let me re-ask the question. When y'all look at this, y'all heard what Des was saying. Y'all hear these conversations all the time, right? Do you guys see the benefits of marriage for men? If so, articulate them out to me. That's all.
I see the benefit because as much as shit that they talk, these men, they don't want to die alone. That's why they're on here. So, of course, if they find a good woman that really loves them, that's working toward them, men who have good wives, they speak highly of their wives and how beneficial their wives is. So it's clear that if you have a woman on your team or a woman on your side, you speaking to this him, it can be beneficial for your life. So I definitely can see the benefits and men still getting married. Do I see the bullshit on why they wouldn't want to get married? I see the bullshit more than I see the benefit.
So weigh them. So the benefits.
Yeah, the bullshit, especially Des, the bullshit is like you just added 75% bullshit.
Put him in the fucking
You killing me because
I'm a blue collar worker. That hurt my feelings just now.
Des, you done enough. All right, let me see. How you say Yanni, what's poppin'? How you?
What's up? How
That's
you
my
doing?
best friend.
Oh, what's up, Yanni? Okay. Salute. All right, Yanni, we'll get you in just a sec. You been listening or no?
No, I haven't listened. I'm just joining.
Okay, all right. I will give you a synopsis, then you can jump in. All right.
Cool.
Callie.
What's cracking?
They say everything cracking till you pop them. So you heard the grave that you heard everything that Des said. What? When you hear the conversations, right? And you look when the men say the pros don't outweigh the cons, do you see men having more benefits than not regarding marriage?
On the internet, I hear
holistically.
More so,
bring in the internet plus what you know in the earth, and then answer.
Then yeah, I do see a benefit to marriage. As far as like on the man's side, right? But what I will say,
you got those Temu headphones in?
No, I don't have the Temus in. I got my Walmart in. Okay.
Go ahead.
But no, I would see the benefit. I don't know if I'd be able to articulate it like a man would who does actually see the benefit. But I know that it is there, or else they wouldn't be there doing it. You know what I'm saying?
No, Callie.
What you mean, no?
Well, they wouldn't be there doing what?
In the marriage.
They ain't married.
What you talking about? I'm talking about
Well,
people who I'm talking about the people who express the benefits.
no, I'm saying like what would the benefits be? Do the benefits
That's what
outweigh
I
the
said.
cost?
From what I hear and see, yeah. Would I be able to articulate like a dude would? No.
What are they though? You know what they are, even if you can't spell them out.
All right, somebody that got your back. Um, somebody that
Now,
gonna
Callie,
pay
all right, here's what we're gonna do, Callie. I got a better idea now. It popped in my head. When you say the thing, I'm gonna give you the retort. Okay. Have your back,
Okay.
except for the divorce rate is 50%, and women initiate 80% of them.
Okay.
What's the next one?
Then HAMP. You know what?
What? I'm just telling you what the retort is. You know that's
No,
not the.
no. It's more about me than it is about you or anything that you're saying. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Let me get a second. Right
Okay. Oh, Yanni. Perfect.
What's good?
What's goody? Are you from New Orleans also?
I am from New Orleans.
Do me a favor. Pronounce this word for me. Orange.
Orange.
Okay. All right. Oof. Okay. See, I do have schools there. All right. Perfect. All right. Good. Just making sure.
Oh, you're a funny man, huh?
We went to the same school.
No way. No, you didn't.
Yes,
Well,
we
let's
did.
see.
Nah, I don't
We
believe
did.
it's nothing y'all can say. So, Yanni, yesterday we talked about the pros and cons of marriage. It was specifically welcome, first and foremost. And it was specifically regarding the men. So it was only men on the panel, you know? And so we're walking it down slowly here today with the ladies. So Sherelle and I opened up. That's my ace boom coon. We do this show, God willing, on Tuesdays, right? And just looking at the benefits and whatnot, because men often say that men don't see a bunch of benefit in marriage. There's also a sentiment coming from the ladies that are a little bit younger, right? Essentially, that say they don't see the benefits either. What's up, Tiff? Or the benefits don't outweigh the cost. Like women aren't trying to get married, they're not pushing for marriage anymore either. So before I ask you a little bit more in-depth questions, what's your take on marriage specifically?
I believe like if it's done the correct way, it's a beautiful thing. I do feel like it's a lot of failed marriages. It's a lot of rushed marriages, but I do feel like there are also equally as many good marriages or stable ones.
Okay, now when we have conversation here specifically, Yanni, we talking about black people probably 99.9% of the time, right? So when we take our people, right, we married at like 30% click, which is kind of low, you know. And then our divorce rate is 50%, you know. So unfortunately, we have a lot of people that aren't married, and then we have a lot of failures as well. So what do you do with that information? Essentially, like 30% of us are married. Do you think that has a negative effect, or it just is?
I mean, from somebody who looking at it just about numbers, then I guess it would have a negative effect. But somebody who not even worried about that and living to be married or to stay married, they're gonna stay married.
Okay.
Now, if you thinking I'm gonna be a statistic or I could be a statistic, and them numbers is constantly popping in your head, then that's what you're gonna be.
So you think that people make their own bed with negative or positive outlook?
Definitely, we all have free will.
Okay. So around you, let's say in your anecdotal experience, have you seen a lot of good marriages?
I have. I've seen more good marriages than I've seen bad, actually.
Is that right? So your experience, you guys correct me if I'm wrong, would be different than most people? Or Sherelle, maybe because we do this more than most people. Would you agree, Sherelle, that most people say they seen bad than good? Or
Yeah, most people say they seen bad than good.
okay, okay. So Yanni, you have a positive outlook on marriage.
I mean, I guess. I guess, but if done the right way, I believe marriage can soar, can elevate, can be beneficial on both ends. I seen you asking her like, what are some of the benefits for men, and I feel
Mhm.
like it should be the same for your partner. So if your wife have those same things that she feel like she's benefiting from the marriage, it should be equally for you as well. So you should feel the same thing. So it shouldn't be a man feeling a different way than a woman when it comes to marriage when you getting into a marriage. Now I understand people do have their difference in opinions, which everybody should, but when it comes to the people that are married or getting married, I feel like they should find the benefits and they should all both have those same benefits. It shouldn't be one person having a benefit over another person.
Do you think equality can be achieved in that way though?
Can quality be achieved in that way?
Equality.
Oh, equality.
So like let's say we is on some Huggy Bear shit. You think that you gonna provide the same things to me that I provide to you? I would think that's unrealistic.
Mm, I would think that even if it's not the exact same thing, it should give you that exact same feeling. So maybe if it's something as simple as um you pay something, she pays something, or you know what I'm saying, even if it's not paying something, because usually marriage is about money.
Damn.
But what you say, damn.
Well, because if marriage is about money, I don't know if you want to build a
I'm
foundation
not saying
around
that
money.
all marriages are built on that. That's not what I was getting at. But
Which ones are the good ones or the bad ones?
I'm saying that money is a factor in all marriages.
Okay, that's fair. The ones that survived, the ones you say were good, you think money was the baseline?
No, I don't think money was the baseline.
What's the baseline in those good ones that you saw?
A lot of the marriages that I saw, they were together when they didn't have no money. So I
Mm,
think longevity, consistency, loyalty, stuff like
mm,
that
mm.
provided a certain type of stability in each of their minds that this was the person that I wanted to be with because this is the person that has been with me while I was sick. This is the person who has been with me while I didn't have
They
no
have
money.
shit. Yeah.
Type shit.
So now, Yanni, look at this, right? The average marriage age for our people is 32, right? People are usually just kind of hitting a stride a little bit around that age. People aren't shooting in the gym with each other, if y'all know the song, right? And so now
Mhm.
people are coming to the not the finish line, but they already in the race. And so now that bonding isn't there, you know? And so now traditionally it's like the man has a plan, the woman gets under that plan, but now they've been developing in the earth separate. And now the men are saying it's not going well. She's not willing to get under my covering. What you think?
I don't know if I think anything about that.
Why?
I don't have no opinion on that.
So you don't think that what they're saying is real, valid, or you just never heard it before?
I believe that. Look, I don't try to take no validity out of nobody's statement. If that's how you feel, I feel like that's how you feel. At the end of the day, people have their own minds to do what they want to do. So if it's now coming to the point where they feel like women don't want to get under their plan, that's just a man feeling like that. You know,
Mhm.
I'm sure you can go find other men that don't feel like that.
Yeah, but I think that so what we try to predicate things on in order to move the conversation forward is majority and minority, right? So the general sentiment for the majority of men is that the women are largely uncooperative, right? And what you highlighted in the successful marriages is they were together when they ain't have shit and they built everything together. But now people are coming together kind of in middle of the race. And so the lack of cooperation is causing us to be apart and not together. So what is your synopsis on that? What you think?
I think that's a true statement in a sense.
Okay.
I do think that you can don't look at it as a race you gotta win or
Okay.
you in the middle of the race. If you're just getting to know this person and you're just getting to know them and take it one day at a time because tomorrow might be the last day of your life at the end of the day. You never know if you was at the end of your race. Talking about the middle of the race for marriage, but you don't know if you're about to be gone. So if you're trying to really genuinely get to know somebody, That's how you build those connections to be like, okay, I'm ready to get married with this person. I know enough about this person.
Okay. Yeah, I understand it. What are the benefits of marriage, Yanni, for a woman?
Yeah, I don't know. I'll let you know when I get married. So,
So but you want to get married?
I mean, at this point in life, I'm kind of if I do, I do. If I don't, I don't. If I was talking to somebody or had a relationship, I probably would be have a different, mindset. Be like, yeah, I'm trying to get married, but I I don't have a yeah, I want to get married. I know I don't want to get married answer for that. I did
Okay.
at one point in time, and I think life lifed, and that made me have a different outlook on it.
Mm, okay. You had a just hot in terms of surface level information. You had a negative experience with life in regards to like a man,
Yeah,
and it changed your outlook from positive to negative, or positive to unsure, or if it happens, it
right.
happens type thing.
Right. It changed it to if it happens, it happens. Because in that
Damn.
situation, you think this is the person you're supposed to end up with. This is the person that, and then it truly is not that person. So it does make you iffy on your, decisions. Like I said, you don't want to rush nothing. I think that the marriages that I've seen, that I see now, that are
Mhm.
still good marriages, they have wavered through things. They have gone through things, and that did not test the fact that they knew that they wanted to be married. Me, I have gone through things, and that tested that. So I know that, maybe, that may or may not be for me.
Damn. So Yanni, that's disheartening, right?
You think so? I'm cool
Kinda.
either way, me.
No, I know you're good, right? Because I think we often get into a space where we don't got no choice but to be good. You know what I'm saying? Like majority of the time, if I'm in the earth and people ask me how I'm doing, I'm like, I'm regular. Like even
Hmm.
if I didn't sleep, if I got a cold, if I'm feeling great, because we usually are in a way in the mindset to just push, push, push. You feel me?
Right,
So
because what you
I,
gonna do if I ain't good? I
yeah,
understand.
nothing, right? So, but the fact that you wanted marriage and now you're apathetic in a way, towards marriage, but you still see the value in it though.
Yeah, feel like it could be beneficial to both parties that are want to be married, like that, have that genuine, that same, I don't know how to put it, but that who has that same outlook, like they both see the same things for one another.
I got you. And so one thing I just want you to reconcile this, right? So I know that your anecdotal experience will trump what you see outside, but even with the influence of all the great marriages around you, you're still in a point of just feeling apathetic about it,
Yeah, I'm feeling like if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
regardless of all the good ones around you,
Right,
because the impact of your personal experience outweighs that shit.
right.
Yanni, true or false? Men ain't shit.
True.
God damn it. All right, mute, Yanni. Tiff, what's up, man? Golly, we gotta come back to that. Tiff, can you hear me? What's
Hey,
goody? What's
it's
up?
good. First of all, I was literally in a nice old lady nap, and I heard 2 days. She's not here, right?
Yo,
Bro,
why they
for real? Be for real, right? Anyway,
oh,
ladies, hey Sherelle, hey Des, Miss Callie,
Hey,
and Yanni.
Tim.
What up? Uh, yo. So,
mm,
go ahead and pose the question. Give me time, like you tell me, to think about it. I've heard a piece of the conversation. Um, Ask me the question, and then we can go from.
the pros of marriage for women. What are they?
So, you get to, one, have a covering. Two, you're there to help, be a helpmeet, which I believe that's a part of. As a woman, you get to have a different type of role. I think if you have children, you've already baked in legacy. If you have means or wealth, you're going to end up keeping that residual. You have a tax benefit. You also have a benefit of just somebody doing life with you. If you marry a friend, you have somebody that you can do a partnership with. A lot of times I think wives don't understand that you are a helpmate, but you have to have a husband that is also submitting to God. So to me, to have a covering in that trifold where my husband is God, my husband, and me, he covers me. And what I thought was hilarious is I was like, you asked what are the benefits of a wife? So this is something, and you can see me reach for it every day. Prayers for my husband. My husband has a prayer partner. My husband has a business partner. My husband has a cook, a chef. You want to say a mattress, mule, maid, whatever. I enjoy taking care of my husband, and in kind, he takes very good care of me. Beyond the financial aspect, it's just communication. Learning how to like share space with somebody else. Learning how to not be selfish. Learning how to not have your immediate benefit. Like the way that people are explaining transactions is a bit weird.
Okay.
Just the quote unquote state of marriage is for some people very challenging. I do believe if you have examples around you, your expectation is different because there's so many married people in our family. I never needed an outside example. And I saw marriages that were successful and I saw marriages that suffered. The people that were in community with their husband, they had good communication skills, they make shit pop. I've never seen single people, unless they are highly successful, be able to do what a married couple can do. Because if you take those two educated people, we'll even take Kelly as a great example. Kelly's a mom, she works from home, she's able to hop on, she dances, she has a great time. She's a whole, fully realized woman with a fantastic, supportive man and beautiful children. That's the benefit of marriage, wholeness. It to me amplifies what God wants from us.
Okay, so you went down a different path. You think just one. I want to emphasize one point: single person don't got a chance in hell when it comes to educated single person is at a deficit compared to two educated married people.
Absolutely, and for Black men, they make more money in marriage. All married men tend to make more money. The benefits, married men live longer. There's just stats are stats. I mean, I don't like to talk rude, but it is something different when you ain't gotta send no "what's up, big head." It's one of those, what you doing? That in-house hit different. And I'm just real with it. When you married and nothing in the marital bed is defiled, baby, let me tell you, the fun that you can have, shit. Look out of here. What you say the other day, you feel horrible. You said, I'm finna clap some cheeks and go to sleep. Because you don't have to send no text. Where you at, big head? Hey, what you got going on? Nah. It's right there. And she understands what the job is. She went ahead, hey, you got to bend, turn, whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
Tiff, don't ever repeat nothing Hamp said. Okay.
Shit, a lot of people repeat what I say. So okay, Tiff. Now, do you see, Tiff? So you think that the benefits for a man far outweigh the cost of marriage?
Absolutely.
And I would assume that the things that you named obviously go for men too, right? Those things seem to be pretty interchangeable, right? But what about the risks that are often assessed? Do you think that men have more risk in marriage than women?
It depends. It really depends.
Majority, and I agree. Circumstances matter, right? And so if we go with real circumstances, I'm just saying this, Tiff, because I saw you in the chat, but I don't know if I saw you the whole time, right? So essentially, okay.
I heard you say 2 days.
No, yesterday. I'm saying, like, for a split second.
Yes, for a little, yeah.
So essentially, we were talking about alimony and spousal support, right? Which are the same thing. And so the overwhelming minority of marriages end in spousal support. So it's like 10%. of marriage is actually in with somebody paying alimony, you know? So that argument that's being made, I said that's not really an argument that's substantive enough, because it's a small population that actually have to deal in alimony, right? So that's not a realistic risk. Now, marital assets being split is what happens, right? So I know that can be a risk in terms of that. But do you think that the benefits of marriage for men, in regards to the risk, what do you think?
I think it definitely outweighs it. And what I find funny is the alimony and spousal support conversation is quite funny, because a lot of states don't do it. You have to be extremely affluent. Most people that get divorced, they separate property and estates that they built together within the marriage. If you are that concerned about your assets, get a prenup and keep it pushing, because we've seen Bill Gates get married and divorced, and the first thing that he said, maybe about a month ago, I hate that I divorced my wife. Jeff Bezos, one of the richest people in the world, he gave that woman half. If you got $1 billion, you got 60 billion, you're not worried about that 2 to 3 billion. And he admits that she helped him, because at night, guess what? Who you think he was talking to about his ideas? Who you think was kind of interjecting on certain things? Where do you think wisdom, discernment was coming from? Because he's already he's got to be here, like focused on the goal. I have to be like, who is this? No, block. What's going? Wives block things. We see shit way before y'all do. And just in that, how many successful men are married? The majority. And let's just do this real quick. The benefits of marriage: health insurance benefits, it's reduced, cheaper car insurance, a better loan for married people. You get consumer benefits. You get to file taxes jointly. There's an inheritance benefit. You can get a prenuptial agreement. You are able to do tax exchanges. Social Security. So if I work and then I die, my husband gets my Social Security. The living spouse gets what you work for. So you're not losing money. You get a lower income tax. The sex is better because you actually get to learn each other. Estate preservation, when we talked about like having assets and protecting them, you get a gift tax. There's IRA. You have spousal contributions. So like for me, when you talked about being a 1099 and owning your own business, if my husband buys something that I can use for my business, that's a tax write-off. They normally save more money, and they have a higher level of satisfaction. Like there are for real benefits of making a person beyond romantic love. That is a piece. That's like the chef's kiss. But those that want to build with, they say, if you want to go far, go alone. If you want to go far, wait. If you want to go quick, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Two people together on task that you can follow, you're going to fucking win.
All right, Tim. You better say that.
Yo, Tim, damn, Tim. Who the fuck? What you reading off of, Tim?
Right, Tim. Because who taught you that? What you like at? Married?
It's the hat.
It's my what he called me, my gas station
Under
hat.
Armour.
Yeah, it's your gas station hat. That's the Marshall's table hat. You know they got the massage chairs, the hats, and the socks on that table. You got that hat. Damn.
And that's them glasses from the gas station.
Yo,
that's the magnifying boys. Damn. Just cook off.
I just never looked at marriage like that.
I'm talking about your glasses.
Oh, thanks. What'd you say, Callie? Sorry.
I said I never looked at marriage like that, so I don't know any of that stuff. Is he like outside of feeling shit? Just to list off like money shit? I don't know.
What you mean?
No, like I never would have been able to say any of that stuff because I don't know about any of that stuff.
That Tiff named?
Yeah.
Really? Like what? Which one specific?
Like
go ahead,
the tax shit and the Social Security shit and all that other stuff. I don't know. I never thought about it.
Really? Your tax preparer should be able to give that to you. You don't have to actually know about it. Because you're married, you file that way.
It's not even that, Callie. Like your husband works super hard. So if something happens and you work super hard, you get to absolve that benefit as long as that person is alive. So a lot of times when people are not together and they're like not married, when that person transitions or does something different, the wife is typically at a deficit, especially if she's like a trad wife where she's not kept up with, let's just say, the environment. But even in that, Homemaking is to me a gift and a blessing. I don't look down at it. I love being a domestic engineer. I love creating a place of harmony and peace for my husband. When we first met, the first thing that he said was, I want somebody to be my fortress of solitude. And it took some time, but the growth that we've experienced and my personal growth as a wife, I don't have words for it. I'm not the person that I was, and I'm actually happy that I'm not.
But Tiff, go around. You want to say something? Oh,
No.
all right. Well, see, Tiff, one thing that jumped out to me when Callie said what she said is something that we talked about yesterday, right? And I want all y'all to chime in on this too. Essentially, how we look at, so marriage gets a bad rap, right? But the vetting doesn't happen, right? So if something isn't vetted out properly, then we get married, right? And then the marriage ends in divorce. And then people say, don't get married. You're going to get divorced. But what happens before you do all that, right? The vetting process, right? Understanding what your benefits are, what's your risk versus reward, the contract you signing. That's not all happening. And then marriage gets a bad rap.
I agree.
Yeah,
And
I think it's the preparation, because even with Kelly got a long, successful marriage, but you know what I'm saying? She never went into her marriage thinking, look at all these benefits. I never was like taught as a little girl. Oh, I'm thinking, okay, you find a guy, you fall in love, y'all want to have kids, happy ever after. First come love, then come marriage, then come you with the baby carriage. That's what we looked at marriage as. It's like, you know what I'm saying? You grow old together with the person that you love is forever. But of course, we bump our heads along the way with that.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I didn't start hearing benefits about tax breaks and all this extra shit until I got on the internet. And people wanted to sell marriage. So they started breaking down more of the, you get these tax benefits, this and this and this. What I will say is, when you pass away, the person you're married to has all law. So I've known people who may have never finalized the divorce papers and have moved on with other partners, and they pass away, and their husband, whoever they've been estranged 10, 15 years, that man has all say so over everything. Every little single thing. Yeah.
If you have a will or something of that nature, right, that can, if you wrote that down and had it signed and by a what's the person that
a notary,
right, that can trump, but yes, that power of attorney, that spouse, everything goes to them. They get the decision making, deathbed, so on and so forth. Okay.